Hi, my name is Richie Dotson of AcousticBox.com. I'm here to answer a question about changing a calfskin or natural vellum banjo head. This is a little banjo ukulele we'll be using to demonstrate with, and its head is very much broken, and I'll show you the things we need to get started with this right away. All the pieces I remove I'm going to put in this little job box. It's just a drawer from one of the little containers I have around here. Next thing I want to do is remove the neck. Long leg screw on the tailpiece bracket. It's got a washer in this case. You probably don't have to remove the neck on all these jobs. I actually see there's another attachment inside, so I don't want to wrestle this thing off or force it. And because it's bradded in and not screwed in, I am going to have to gently pry the back off this little banjo. Loosened up in this little neck set here, so I can grab that pin. It looks like it's been many years since that was removed. Put it aside, this aside. The neck is out, and I just take a quarter turn counterclockwise. You don't want to remove all the tension at one time. As soon as I get them loosened up so that I can get them off with my fingers, I start doing that. Rotate the hooks out of the way. I want to gently pry this up. Tension hoop off. A little gentle pressure. Got something else in there. What would probably equate to a little tone ring is actually in here. There it is. Don't lose track of how these things came off or go back together. And your banjo, chances are, will not be like this one. We have to remove the flash hoop. This is actually a different banjo, so don't be confused by the size. Here's how I get that out. Penknife or an X-Acto knife, if you will. And a new blade, or a reasonably sharp blade. Get a little bit of an angle on it and dig in. This is what you'll typically find these thicker, older heads, instead of the thinner one that came off the ukulele banjo. Back to where the flesh hoop separated. There, here it comes now. Don't get too overzealous. This is pretty soft metal. And there you go. Here we have a sink with about 2 inches of lukewarm water. And we're going to place our head directly in there and make sure it's all underwater. And we're going to leave it for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you can remove the banjo head. You can see it's nice and floppy, which is a good thing. And then I like to fold it in half, and then fold that in half, and then fold that in half, and then fold that in half. I'm going to put it on a paper towel and put it aside. If you soaked this banjo head in a sink or a place that your wife cares about, you might want to go clean it up for 30 seconds before you continue, because the powder that comes on these will settle in. And besides, they smell a whole lot like wet dog. Nice. We're going to start reassembling the body. This little thing that sort of mimicked what a tone ring would do, it's got quite a bit of rust on it. I just want to clean it off with some 4/0, that's 0000 steel wool. Got myself wet and messy, but that's part of this job. I'm just knocking the big chunks off. I also want to clean a little bit off this flesh hoop. I'm not trying to make it pretty. I'm not trying to make it anything it wasn't before. I just want to clean it off. do this carefully. There's an old shim under there for this one, and I'm going to leave it right where it is. There. The shoe brackets through which the hook and the hook will pass, and then the nut attaches to the hook. They'll be loose, and I want to use that to my advantage because I'm going to lean them over so that they're not sticking up in my way. Next thing we want to do is unwrap our head. Next piece that goes on is the flash hoop, and I'm feeling here to see where that neck notch is because that's where I want this aligned as well. There, flash hoop going on pretty well. May still be a little tight. No, I think that'll do it. Down evenly. You want about, depends on the banjo, can't tell you exactly what the measurement's going to be, but I'm going to give this, I don't know, 1/4 inch or so. Fold in toward the center of the head. Don't pull up on it or you pull the flash hoop out. Let's put the tension hoop, which is different than the flash hoop, and again this little bit of a braised joint is going to go up here toward the neck notch. I just want to hide all those things, and then the head gets folded out. So that the flash hoop has the flesh or the leather or the skin head wrapped around it. I'm going to start unfolding these. I'm only going to do one on one side, and I want it to barely fit actually. I want it to have just enough to catch that side, and then directly across I want to get another one. If it's not exactly directly across, I don't care so much. So one's catching here, one's catching here. I'm going to go 90 degrees to those two, trying to achieve the same thing. So I've got north, south, east, and west, or 4 corners, however you want to look at it, secured. Just enough tension to hold it on. Nothing tight at this point. Now that I've got 4, I'm going to achieve 8 by going in the between the 4 that I have already. This is a small body. I'm going to go ahead and put them all on. Okay, now that you've got them all set on here, I'm going to go around each one of them and make them finger tight only. By the way, you want to do this before the head dries out or starts drying out. Don't soak your hand for more than 10 minutes, or if you do, check it. Some heads are thicker, some heads are thinner. There's goat skin, calf skin. My grandfather often talked about cat skin. I guess it'd have to be a small banjo, poor cat. But he was born in 1900 and did things a little differently. Now, I want to grab both sides of this, here and here, and this makes it nice because there's plenty of material. And you can see it taking up the slack right here. Watch that disappear. Aha! Here's another sloppy spot. Got some bunched up on the other end. Watch that just disappear. And then you want to go around the hole. Here's a good spot you can see. Pulls that tight. Flash hoop is still underneath the tension hoop. I'm going around again. Finger tightening these. Found another little slack spot on the back side of that. Pull that out. Your tension hoop is riding above the plane of the head. The head's still loose and wet. Find the spot where the neck notch is located, right here. Slide the neck in at this point. Here, we're good to go. Here's why. The tension hoop, after it's tightened down a little bit, will clear. Meaning the strings, even if you fret the last fret down here, the strings won't ride up against this tension hoop. Now it will right now because it's slightly above, but we want that, and we want to be able to pull this tight again. Set the next side. Pull this tight one more time. Make sure everything is pulled up, because we're not going to do any more finger tightening on this banjo. Don't soak this head for more than 10 minutes without checking it. A thicker head may take longer. What you're looking for is a head that's slightly rubbery feeling, but hasn't swollen to the point of fattening up, because that, if you got a good tight tolerance like an old Gibson that you want to put a skim head on, that will prevent that from happening, because everything will not go together, because the head will have swollen up too much. If you leave it in the water probably more than 10 minutes, it might not even take 10 minutes, so keep an eye on it. It's kind of an art to all these things. I'm just drying off the surface of this. I want to turn it over, dry out the inside. Don't get too, you don't have to get too carried away with this. A couple paper towels worth, just to get the excess water out. It is important that you do the next step while everything is still wet and mushy. You don't want your X-Acto knife or whatever blade you're using to touch the head, just above the head. So what I like to do is actually get it to rest on the head, and then angle it up a bit, go in and make sure I'm not touching the head. Please keep your left hand out of the way here. I provide a little bit of tension so that it gets pulled away as I'm working. Being pulled over those. You don't want to cut it way down in there, because you don't want it to shrink away and then go around the tension of the flesh hoop and escape, because once that happens you have to change this head again. There, made it all the way around. And this one in particular, you're going to have quite a bit of waste. Alright, it's the next day, and we didn't tighten anything up past the wet stage, and it's tightened up on its own a little bit, and we're going to continue on. First of all, finger tight, like we've been doing, just to take up the slack. I'm going to start at the neck notch, work my way around, 1/4 turn at a time. Some of you are thinking right now, that's not the way the Scruggs book said to do it. You're supposed to do this side, then this side, then this side, then this side. I don't want to keep up with that, and I'm not going to. This is every bit as effective, and if you turn it 1/4 turn each, whether it feels tight or not, past finger tight, you'll get it right. Second round, check it again. What am I checking for? Well, first, I don't want to get it too tight. We got a little pucker here because of where the flesh hoop is. I've got to put the neck back on to make sure it clears, and it already clears, so we're okay, but I want it a little bit tighter. It's a small diameter head. Another 1/4 turn. If it's a rainy day, you probably wouldn't want to do this. Now we're going to reassemble the banjo. Now we're all done. The head's on. The strings are still stretching, but they're on there. Everything's back together as it should be, and this is a success. If you have any reservations about dismantling your banjo and reassembling it, this might not be a job that you're comfortable with, and that's okay. You might want to look into having it done. Other folks won't have any trouble at all jumping into these jobs and just sort of figuring it out as you go. You should know what type of personality and mechanical aptitude you possess. Good luck with your next project. We'll see you next time. This is Richie Dotson with Acoustic Box saying goodbye for now.